My name is Emily Sparks. I'm the Education Program Administrator here at Prevent Child Abuse Utah.
My name is Deandra Brown. I am a concert pianist by trade. I perform with my brothers and sisters, the Five Browns, and I am a part of this wonderful team at Prevent Child Abuse Utah.
My name is Kristen Perry. I run a theater group for young people and have a lot of fun doing that.
I first came in contact with Prevent Child Abuse Utah in 2018. At that time, I was being trained to be an education specialist. And while we were doing the training in the curriculum, I realized that it was the same curriculum that I had had in 4th grade when I learned that I was being sexually abused.
I am a child sexual abuse survivor myself. When I was growing up, abuse was certainly something that was kept in the dark and in the shadows. We never talked about it.
First time I heard about Prevent Child Abuse Utah, unfortunately, was when the police knocked on my door. My girls had had their educational presentation a few weeks before, and they had reported that their father was sexually abusing them.
So that day in 4th grade, when Prevent Child Abuse came in and taught us about what child abuse was, I had had suspicions before that what was happening to me was wrong. And deep down I knew it was wrong, but no one had ever taught me that it shouldn't be happening. And no one had ever given me the words to what it was.
No one wants to ever imagine that your children are being hurt. And the moment I found out that it was happening in my home was absolutely devastating.
When I realized that that was happening to me, I was really scared. I didn't want to tell anyone. I didn't want to get anyone in my family in trouble. I didn't want my family to be separated. And I felt like I needed to save the rest of my family and keep my family together.
I said, "Didn't it feel bad? Didn't you want to tell me that this bad thing was happening to you?" She said, "Yeah, I was being asked to do something by my dad. But he also asked me to put away the dishwasher, and I didn't like doing that either."
So I told my teacher a little bit about what happened, but educators weren't required to be trained in child abuse prevention. So a lot of adults didn't know how to handle that kind of disclosure or what to do with it. So it wasn't reported the way it would have been today and the way it would have been with our online course and with the trainings that educators are required to take. An adult can't report what they don't know, and a child can't report what they don't know.
And I'm sure there were people that probably suspected that there were maybe things happening in my home environment, but nobody was brave enough to actually ask those questions.
They had been taught at home what it was by me, but I didn't realize that my husband was teaching them something very different. I was so grateful that my girls already had a lot of knowledge from Prevent Child Abuse Utah. They've been taught in school what this was, and they were able to understand that not just mom wouldn't be okay. Everyone, their whole neighborhood, everyone they loved was not okay with what was happening to them.
It's been very invigorating and exciting to be able to see the changes that are happening now in this area, that people are really talking about child sexual abuse, and really the stigma is being removed so that survivors and victims can come forward. And I get excited thinking about the next generation of kids learning about preventing sexual abuse and how to protect themselves and stand up for themselves and confident in our school environment.
So after I was trained to be an education specialist, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in the classroom with the students. And every time I go into that classroom, I remember that I was in that classroom. And I speak to the student who's experiencing this and is learning for the first time that they can tell someone.
One daughter who was in 3rd grade at the time, she actually told 2 friends on the playground. So she said, "You know that thing we learned about in school? Well, my dad is sexually abusing me." And the 2 girls said to her, "Well, you have to tell." So it not only empowered my daughter to be able to tell, but also that her friends could tell her immediately what to do.
Sometimes you feel like, as one person, that there's nothing that you can do to affect the situation. But I can honestly tell you, even one voice, one powerful voice, can really affect change.
I actually did meet the person who gave the presentation in my daughter's school. She was my 6th grader at the time. In class, one of my daughters had asked a question: does everyone who sexually abuses a child, do they go to prison? She said that really got her spidey senses tingling. And she had actually suggested that the principal follow up on that, which I love. Again, we have these amazing presenters who have really good instincts to be able to even flag something inside of a presentation to the principal, and that was incredible for me. I asked her what it was that gave her the courage to tell, and she said it was seeing this curriculum in her school.
I just want every child to know that is experiencing abuse that they don't have to live with it. That it's okay if they tell someone, no matter what someone is telling them. Whether they feel like they're scared what's going to happen to their family, or they're scared what's going to happen to the person that's doing it to them, or they think that they're going to be in trouble. It's never a child's fault that they're being abused, and no child has to live with the abuse that they're experiencing.
If she had not told, I never would have known. You will not ever know that your child is being hurt. Never. Unless they are empowered to understand that they can tell someone about what is happening to them. Prevent Child Abuse saved my family.
It's time for change.